Hello and welcome to the Southwest London Stadium, the home of Sale Sharks, who are now hosting Newcastle Falcons in a pre-season friendly just before the Premiership starts to see which team will counter and conquer the other one. Sale Sharks running a very formidable lineup for a friendly, running Sheridan, an ex-England international, struggled with injuries but doing alright right now. Hodgson, another ex-England international, probably out of the running because of his age, but that amazing centre partnership of Tuolangi and Tate, hopefully the Sharks will be looking for them to come through. The Falcons running a very inexperienced lineup. The only real heavy heads we're looking at are Levy and Afu in the front pack. They're also going to look for Henderson and Bobo to try and run wide, but overall they have a very, very young lineup when it comes into this one. So we'll see how these boys do. Gopeth has the kick at the start. Takes it off, goes long. Not a bad choice. The chase isn't that great. The jump in, he's missed it, but it's a decent tackle. And now we have the first ruck of the match. It looks like Newcastle Falcons, bright and young upcoming forwards, have actually taken it. Levy, moving in, takes an absolute hit, and he can't do much about it. But back it comes to the scrum half. Hogg is in the centre. There isn't much of a backline, but Henderson, the outside centre, has definitely come in. It looks like turning over the ball is quite hard for the Sale Sharks, as the Newcastle forwards are getting over it very, very quickly. The backline in itself, though, is not getting into position fast enough, but it is to Tui Poluto. He's tried to pass it, but chucked it forward. A terrible showing for a first touch on the Newcastle player. They've gone for a quick snipe in the side, it hasn't worked, and it's been turned over, which means the advantage for a knock-on will be given back to the Sale Sharks. That's an unfortunate moment from Tui Leputo, and hopefully he'll forget that for the rest of the game. But the box kick was useless since it was an advantage, and these two massive packs go up against each other. The Newcastle Falcons have the slight weight advantage, but they do not have the experience and dedication. But it looks like at this moment in time, strength is winning over experience. Henderson out to Amesbury. Gopeth has some space. The fly half moves in but gets hammered by the fullback, but he still gains some decent yards. The forwards are slow at reacting to that one, but it looks like finally Sale will bring it to the back. The scrum half to Golding, to Afu, who has some space. The number 8 has found it, but he's tackled at the last second. Afu, the experienced member of the forward pack, cannot get over the line. Now let's see what the scrum half decides to do. He goes for a snipe and he's over the line. Newcastle have scored their first try at the 30-minute mark. Well done. And that's basically what happens when you keep throwing pressure at the other side. Eventually they're going to crack. And Mickey Young had the foresight as a scrum half to go around the side, seeing that there was nobody covering, and just go over the line. He gets hammered by the fullback, but you know what? It's alright for him. He's done his job, he's got the try, and as you can see, it was well executed. The forwards did their job at getting over the ball, and the wonderful scrum half snipes and takes the points for his team. So Jimmy Gopeth, the resident fly half for Newcastle, a guy who has been talked about by the England selectors but never ever got a chance, is here to try and go for the first conversion. And it looks good. The wind is slightly pulling him back to the left, but it just has the legs to get over. Gopeth has done a wonderful job putting the Falcons 7-0 ahead. Now let's see if Sale Sharks can respond. From the kickoff, we have Hodgson, who will take it, and we'll see what happens. If Newcastle can gather this ball correctly and just relax, it looks like they can't. Oh my god, Tui Poluto. His second touch of the game goes down. What is he doing? Oh, well, hopefully his forwards can bail him out from this. I understand maybe Bobo took it out and maybe he screwed over his view of the ball, but that is inexcusable. Hopefully his forwards can bail him out. It looks like they're trying their hardest, to push this experienced lineup to the limit, and it looks like they've pushed forward. The scrum half once again has it. Our resident try scorer passes it far to Gopeth, the fly half, who isn't stood in the fly half position for some reason. But it looks like Newcastle are trying to get this ball back, but it's a turnover. The Sale Sharks have got it. The scrum half has run in and got absolutely battered, but the Newcastle Falcons are pushing everything they can to get the ball back, but they still can't. Another sniper's in, but it looks like, a missed tackle, and Afu, the number 8, the experienced fella, cannot get across to take it. The fullback as well was struggling. That's the first try for the Sale Sharks, making it 5-7. It was in the corner though. Matthew Tate, the inside centre, a complete contrast to his centre partner Tuolangi, took the ball at speed and, as you can see, just breezed past everybody. Tuolangi seen for his strength and basic brutishness, whereas Matthew Tate seen as a speed merchant, a guy who once again was looked at by England. He actually played some Sevens games for them, which is quite interesting, from Barnard Castle, I believe, a rugby team from a school that I actually used to play against, which is very odd when you think about it. But anyway, Hodgson lines up the kick, and hopefully, he's missed it though. If he'd just got that, it would have drawn the game, put more pressure on the Falcons. But right now, the Falcons are in the lead by 2 points. It doesn't seem that significant when you think about it, since a drop goal, a penalty, a try, a conversion, anything basically grants the Sharks a lead. But if the scores stay like this, the Falcons will win. But as you can see, Falcons dominating in possession and territory, and the Sale Sharks taking their opportunities. They had a few offloads. They've won 2 of the scrums compared to Falcons. So the two handling errors from Tui Lipotu have really cost the Newcastle Falcons, but they are ahead. Hodgson with the kick once again. It's a spiralling one, and Ward takes it. The opposing blindside flanker for the Newcastle Falcons. Gopeth, the fly half, looks for a kick, but he's injured. He took a hard hit there in the middle of trying to get his kick off. He got massacred. Now let's see what the management decides to bring in. They're bringing in a straight replacement, bringing in Manning, a player who is still, once again, a young player. All these players on the Newcastle Falcons are very young, full of adrenaline and full of power, but let's see if that beats out experience in the long run. And the scrum starts. A good shove from the Newcastle Falcons, but it looks like the Sale Sharks are pushing back. The carbon dioxide is in their legs. They're really hurting. They're tired, but they're hoping to run through. But this looks like a break. Bobo just stops him. And it looks like the outside centre, Tui Lipotu, has actually done something useful for his team in this match. They're going for the short runs. The forwards are trying to make the hard yards. But it looks like the Newcastle Falcons are more dedicated. They've taken it from the Sale Sharks. And once again, the kick is gone for, but it has failed. It's another advantage to Sale Sharks for a scrum, which we've seen be a bit topsy-turvy. So the kick goes off, and it doesn't really mean anything because of the advantage. That's a rough one for the Newcastle Falcons. If we see what area they are in, it's devastating. Because the Sale Sharks have basically got a nice area where they can attack from. They have nice area from both sides of the scrum, and they can basically push forward. But it looks like Newcastle, with the aid of their front pack, has overwhelmed the Sale Sharks. Manning has gone from the loop. A positive look at this very young fly half, but it looks like it didn't come for anything, and Newcastle have lost the ball because of it. The forwards weren't there in time. The scrum half gets high tackled, but nobody seems to see it apart from the crowd, who are buzzing, and everybody else is doing alright. But Newcastle once again have turned over the ball to Hudson, to Golding. Henderson on the loop, but he's missed it. Bobo is here to pick up the ball. Young in himself goes for a little snipe because he sees some space, but runs into a massive forward who has made him struggle for his yards. And here we go. It's the pass to Tui Lapotu. Manning to Bobo, who has space. Here we go, Bobo. What can you do? He's shrugged off the first defender. The second one gets him. And Afu is sat at the back of the ruck waiting for us. Now what's he going to do? He's going to go for a kick. What a madman. He's a number 8. What does he think he's doing? But anyway, it's in touch. He's at least gained some yards. Probably not the best idea or the best thing to go to, especially from a very experienced number 8. But we have our first line out of the game at 80 minutes, which is insane. And it's stolen by Newcastle. Young has the ball to Amesbury, who has come up into the line. Young is waiting patiently as his forwards battle out against the Sale Sharks, but it looks like the ball is given. He's gone for a snipe to Thompson. He's brilliantly opened up Bobo, and Bobo is over. He didn't get over the line, but it doesn't matter now. Because of that conversion, in the first half, the Newcastle Falcons in this pre-season friendly have just beaten out their rivals, the Sale Sharks. Now it may be different when the Premiership rolls around, when we see the proper sides instead of trying out new talent and everything like that. But it was still a hard, good game. As you can see, the conversion from Gopeth making the difference. But anyway, I'll catch you next game.